Katie. How you doing today?
Doing okay. How are you?
It's good to hear. I'm good. So, over the past 2 weeks, you and I have talked about your husband and the issues that y'all have been having at home. Really the only one being that you've noticed this disconnect with him, that he at some points almost shuts down and doesn't really want to talk about what he's feeling, and maybe some of the experiences that he had whenever he was deployed for a while. But you did also say that recently that he has begun to communicate a little bit better with you, and that you've expressed to him that you've noticed this, and he agrees with you that he is being a little bit that way. And that also the normal that you've both discussed together, that the normal, that what he used to be for y'all may not exactly be what is normal now for you, since he was gone for a little while and you were apart, and now he's back. And that's what it seems like is bothering you the most, is the lack of communication there between you two. Would you agree with me on that?
I guess I would have said that maybe the first week, but I feel like maybe what I was expecting something unfair in that way.
What do you mean by unfair?
I guess, like you said, like normal now is going to be a little different than normal before, and so my natural inclination is to try to communicate everything that I'm feeling and thinking all the time, and I can't expect the same from him, because that's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot for him to take in from me, and that would be a lot for him to try to like match.
Right. Okay.
So I guess yeah, in a way that is what's most concerning, is just wanting him to want to communicate as much as I do, but again, maybe that's not fair to put that expectation on him.
Right. Do you think that maybe that some of this change that you've seen from him could maybe also have something to do with maybe the way that you've begun to communicate with him since he's been home? Do you think maybe there's some way that you've changed in that sense?
Yes, I think a lot of how things were for us in that very beginning stage of adjusting to life again after deployment was based on the way that I was being, and I guess kind of realizing that now through things that we've talked about here, and through the conversation that my husband and I had a couple of weeks ago. And so I definitely feel like that my actions have a lot to do with the situation, and maybe feeding into the negativity of the situation instead of making it a more positive thing.
Right. Do you think that maybe since he's come back and been with you now, that maybe you're almost a little hypersensitive to picking up on that he's changed a lot?
And he tells me that. He tells me, like, you're so hypersensitive about every move I make that I can't tell what's like really important and what really bothers you from what is something that you're blowing out of proportion, and it's hard for me to know what to take seriously and what to say. Okay, is this really important, or are you like being unreasonable right now? And so yes, I think you're right about that. Yes.
Okay, well, now that we've talked about some of the issues that we think are the main problems, the lack of communication, maybe you being a little sensitive to that as well, I think maybe we need to start setting some goals for you at this point. These aren't exactly goals you have to, as soon as you leave here, go out and, change immediately, but, just some things for us to bounce off each other and kind of go ahead and start giving you some ideas. What are some things that maybe you have on your mind that you think would be a good idea for a goal?
I think, for one, just embracing what our life is now and not worrying so much that any like little awkward adjustment that happens is because I'm doing something wrong or there's dissatisfaction on his part in regards to me. And just accepting and embracing our new life and our new normal, and not focusing on how that little behavior is not what it was before, so what does that mean? And just, it's a little bit over the top. And also, I think not assuming that any, like, pensiveness on his part, or, like, if he's one night is really quiet and seems kind of removed a little bit, not automatically assuming that he's not happy with me, or that it's something to do with me, because he's told me a million times it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with you. And so I just need to really believe that and quit taking it so personally.
Right. Well, I think those are all really good goals, and positive ones as well, which is really good. And I think that also you've shown some really good potential in that you've already taken that step in trying to better this communication with him, and he was receptive to it in some ways. Not where he's going to just come out and tell you everything all at once, but he's little by little letting you back in, it feels like. And I think that's really good. Do you think that these are some actions that you can really take and set for yourself and stick to them, you think?
Yeah, I think that there are things that I'm realizing more about myself, and just knowing that those are things I need to watch. I feel like in the future, when those instances come up, and I've already seen myself doing this over the past couple of weeks, I'll, like, process it before I say something about it or respond to it. I'll, like, ask myself, is this really about you? No, it's not. Is this even worth getting sensitive over? No, it's not. And so that, and my mom has always said, choose your battles with everyone. And not that I feel like I'm battling my husband at all, but is it worth bringing up, or are you taking something super personally that he didn't mean anything by, and it was just like something you would say all the time, and just things like that I think will help me.
Right. And I think whenever you give yourself those little pep talks, I think that's another good way to make sure that you're like, okay, this isn't about me. I haven't done anything wrong. He just maybe had a bad day at work.
Yeah. And he has this very stressful job situation.
Oh, yes,
he works,
I can imagine.
like, Monday he worked 15 hours.
Wow.
And that's normal. And so somebody that works like that day in and day out all week, and on the weekends most of the time, what am I expecting from him? To be like a performing monkey that comes home and is just all super dynamic and all the time, He's exhausted. I need to just chill out a little bit.
What do you think you would do in the case of if maybe you tried to have one of these talks with him and, you feel that he is closed off, and what would happen if, maybe he wasn't receptive of this talk with you? What if he was maybe defensive in some kind of way?
Well, that would be difficult, because I feel like going forward, I'm only going to, like, purposefully have a conversation with him about something that's bothering me if I feel like it's something that's really important. And he knows that now, going forward, that if I take the time to sit down and really pour my heart out about something, it's because it's truly important to me and I'm truly concerned. So if he were to discount that, that would be, I really don't know how I would react, because my initial response thinking about it is to, like, be emotional and to be angry with him.
Which I think are natural feelings in that situation.
I think since we've already talked about it and we've established, like, if I make a point to talk to you about something seriously, it's because it's truly, truly important to me.
Right, okay.
I hope that won't be an issue going forward, that he wouldn't be that he wouldn't discount it.
Right.
But
well, that's good that y'all had that talk and made it clear that, if we are having a talk about something, it's because it's something that's really bothering me. That's good that he is very respectful of that and everything. I think that you've already taken some really great steps, and obviously your husband wants to share things with you, but maybe sometimes just feels like he can't, or maybe doesn't want to worry you.
Yeah, and he deserves his privacy, and that's something that I'm learning. Like, for us to have healthy communication doesn't mean that we are literally sharing every single thought that we have,
right,
and every single experience that we've ever had. That's not the definition of healthy communication. I think as long as we're open with each other and are willing to talk about things that matter to us, I need to stop worrying about what he's not telling me. Is it something he needs to get off his chest and he just doesn't know how to say it? And,
Right, I think that's really good that y'all are at this point now. So how do you feel overall about the sessions that we've been having together? Do you feel that these sessions have helped you with your situation more?
I definitely think so, and I think just being more introspective, and like you said, do you think that maybe you've changed some? And just having to think about that has helped a lot, because I guess the focus is so much on the soldier when they get back and how they're going to be different, but you're different too after that experience, and I had not really considered that as much.
Right, because you were without him for just as long as he was without you.
Right, so I had not considered that aspect of it as much at all until talking with you, so that's been really helpful.
That's good. And how are your feelings about having the sessions with me as a counselor? Do you feel like I've given you some really good ideas, and I've been here and hearing everything that you say?
Yeah, I definitely do. And not just hearing what I'm saying, but also, like I said, challenging me to think differently about the situation.
Okay, good. That's what I was definitely trying to do with you. Well, I think that we've had some really great sessions together, and I feel very confident that you and your husband are going to be able to have these conversations with each other, and that, it's already started to get better. We've already seen that, and so, you can only go up from there.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Cool.